Hello there, and welcome to Talking Nerdy, the show where we take various story arcs and events from current comics, and we cover them. I'm your host, Obi-Wan Jabroni. Now, our story today is Last Annihilation Part 1. Now, Last Annihilation consists of 8 issues, but we'll only be covering the first 4 this week. Guardians of the Galaxy number 15 and 16, Sword 7, and Guardians of the Galaxy number 17. So, with that, let's start talking nerdy. First up, we have Guardians of the Galaxy number 15, written by Al Ewing, with art by Juan Frigeri, and colors by Federico Blay. Prelude, roll call. The Guardians of the Galaxy have expanded their ranks and are fully sanctioned to protect the cosmos. That's good because something strange has happened to Ego the Living Planet after a Skrull fire cult committed a mass sacrifice. A black shell has covered Ego entirely. But what happening underneath, no one can say for sure. All this plus Star-Lord has invited Doctor Doom to join the team. Now, we open up on one of the Guardians' ships, the Almond, and we see Rocket, Drax, Gamora, Hercules, Groot, and Quasar are all looking out of the viewport at what used to be Ego, the living planet. And we learn that 10 days ago, Ego turned into a huge black insect-like egg and has been dormant ever since. And Rocket tells them that scans and even ordnance hasn't been able to penetrate the shell. Now, we switch to another one of the Guardian ships, the Somerville, and we see Star-Lord and Nova are on their way to Krakoa's Sword space station. And they're arguing about Star-Lord's recent recruitment of Doctor Doom. And Nova says that Doom is a dictator who only looks out for himself, and he can't be drafted, let alone controlled. And Star-Lord responds that there wasn't an alternative and that Doom was right. Something's coming. The cosmic scales seem way off balance. And as they're talking, they arrive at the Sword Station and are greeted by Magneto and Abigail Brand once they land on deck. And as soon as Nova sees Magneto, he snaps and says that he is under arrest and that he may have immunity on Earth, but space is my domain. And Magneto rises from the floor and throws a ship at Nova, who cuts it in half. Magneto grabs the two parts of the ship and slams them together in on top of Nova. But Nova bursts from the wreckage and says that the Nova Force allows him to control even magnetic fields, and I can cancel them out, like this. And he charges in, causing magnetic fields to drop, and he punches him in the face, knocking his helmet off his head. Now, at this point, the station security team charges into the room, and Abigail tells them both to stand down right now, or she will lock them both up, diplomats or not. Nova calms down and apologizes to Magneto, who does the same, saying that he shouldn't have rose to the bait. And he asks about the new Guardians setup, and Nova says that the Guardians couldn't afford a new Nova Corps, or to lose one either, so the Guardians stepped up into the void. Now, Magneto responds with a little bit of a monologue. So, that's the only reason. Budgeting, is it? We were once swashbucklers. We were spun into our in our vast powers, and we used them to right vast wrongs, striding across a world where we thought we knew the answers. But then the world offered harder questions. And to find answers, we learned, we grew, we evolved. Sometimes that means compromise. What we fought for is in our reach, our mutual future, our peaceful galaxy. But the road here took a toll on us. It left scars. So that simpler time pulls at us in weaker moments, like a magnet. Now, I don't blame you, Richard. You saw your enemy. I saw mine. I'm willing to start over if you are. But I am curious. Why did you ally with Victor Von Doom? He's far from someone I would ever trust. And Nova says that he has his doubts too, but Star-Lord recruited him, and he tells Magneto about Doom's worries for the fate of the galaxy. Now, back on the ship the Almond, the group are talking to about Krakoa's new mineral Mysterium and the terraforming of Mars when they get a call from Mantis from the other side of Ego. And she says that she just read a massive energy flux inside Ego's shell, and that she thinks he is hatching out. And all of a sudden, a voice rings out through space coming from Ego saying, "No, Ego is gone. His puny shell is mine, a living furnace to house my terrible flame. I am the great Enigma, eater of souls. I am the keeper of the mindless army. I am the dread lord of secret fire. And my name is Dormammu." And the black shell breaks away to reveal that Ego is now transformed into the form of Dormammu's head. And that ends our first issue. Taking us to Guardians number 16, written by Al Ewing, with art by Juan Frigeri, and colors by Federico Bellé. Part 1, Look Upon Me and No Fear. Recently, a Skrull fire cult committed a mass sacrifice on the surface of Ego, the living planet. This act created a black shell around Ego, seemingly incubating him. These strange and dark events have captured the attention of numerous galactic planets, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and even Doctor Doom. Now, finally, that shell has hatched into a planet-sized Dormammu, ruler of the Dark Dimension. The last annihilation has begun. Now, we open on Throne World 2, which is the remains of Hela. And Hawkling and Wiccan are helping rebuild the planet when portals start to open all around them, and mindless ones start to pour out, attacking everyone. Wiccan quickly throws up a shield around them and deflects most of the blast back to the mindless ones, killing them. Now, elsewhere at the Ego site, a legion of mindless ones start pouring out of Dormammu, and he says, "Ego is gone. I wear his shell like a skin of a snake. Know me, for I am Dormammu, he who comes from the dark, he who has waited eternities to possess your frail universe. Look upon my visage and no fear. Hear my words in your soul and feel it crumble. I scream blood and murder at your weak stars, and my screams are armies of hell." And both teams of Guardians start to fight off the mindless that are pouring out of Dormammu, while the civilian and research ships try their hardest to get away. Now, at this point, we switch to the planet Arakko, and we see Star-Lord and Nova are standing on a ridge overlooking Port Prometheus when they start to get numerous alerts on the Guardians' comm channels. Seconds later, Moondragon telepathically calls them and explains what happened with Ego. And we learn that the mindless ones are attacking all major planets in the galaxy. Nova tells Star-Lord to go to get Doom and Brand now, and he blasts into the sky, racing to the Ego site using his Nova Force and wormholes. Now, we switch back to the Ego site. Mantis, Drac, and Hercules are fighting off mindless ones as their ship is destroyed, and Mantis calls out to Quasar for evac. Quasar flies in and barely gets them before the ship blows, and Mantis calls Gamora and Rocket, saying they need to retreat now. Gamora says to give her one more second. She almost has eyes on this mindless ship to take it out. The ship disappears through a portal in front of them and appears behind them, blasting Gamora's ship and destroying it. As Gamora and Rocket float dying in space, Nova shows up and pulls them both into his atmospheric sphere. Now, while this is all going on back on Throne World 2, Hawkling and Wiccan have just defeated another wave of mindless ones, and they get a call from from Hawkling's military head, Kalert, who tells them they need someone to help protect Skrullos now. There is no one there other than the Skrull defenses. And Hawkling tells Wiccan to gather the Knights of the Infinite and go protect Skrullos now. They kiss, and Wiccan teleports away, and Hawkling calls Cliff and says to contact the Empire's prison and have Captain Glory released at once. They need his help. And that ends this issue. Leading us to Sword number 7, written by Al Ewing, with art by Stefano Caselli, and colors by Frodo Bunker. Part 2, Full Spectrum Diplomacy. Krakoa has terraformed and settled Mars with the mutants of the once-lost island of Arakko. Using the miracle metal Mysterium, retrieved from higher space by the mutant circuit known as the Six, they have gained the favorable attention of the Galactic Council, and bought full status and recognition for the Sol System. As Regent of Arakko and the Voice of Sol is now our son's representative in Galactic affairs, and galactic affairs are heating up. The other dimensional tyrant, Dormammu, has possessed Ego, the living planet, and is using him as a beachhead for the full assault of our reality, starting with the Kree-Skrull alliance. Meanwhile, in the wake of the Hellfire Gala, certain guests have yet to return home. Now, we open up on Throne World 2, and Hawkling approaches the teleporter right as Captain Glory comes through it. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. He gives Glory a rundown of the entire situation so far, and Hawkling says he called Alpha Flight on Earth for help, and just then, hundreds of mindless portals open as another wave starts to arrive on Throne World. And Glory and Hawkling fight off the wave. Glory says we need a different help if Alpha Flight won't respond to us. Now, elsewhere on the planet Arakko, Doctor Doom is sitting and having dinner with the Queen of Arakko, Storm. And they are discussing the mutants' terraforming of Mars. And then Doom expresses his concerns with the new material Mysterium that only Krakoa has access to. And he gives a little bit of a speech to Storm about it. The forces beyond this realm are less limited, which brings us to Mysterium, the mutant miracle metal. I am a doctor of the fivefold arts. From childhood, I forged myself in the secret fire. I have my mother's eyes. Mysterium is not from our reality using mutant technology. A delicious example of naming it as magic, as your technopaths surely agree. You condense it from primal Kirbons, cosmic particles that exist both outside our cosmos and at the heart of it. For there have always been the same place, the above place, the white hot room, the mystery. You have stolen fire from heaven to hold it in your hands. How could I object? I have done the same thing myself, with one significant difference. I wore gloves. Be careful. You are dabblers, and in this arena, at this scale, the unintended consequences of dabbling can be severe. The wrong symbol or metaphor can destroy you. You have turned the gold alchemist sought into common coin, shackled the sublime to the material world, and thus you have altered the balance of things. Subtly, it's true, but enough to create a moment of opportunity for one who knows how to seize it. Something is coming, Aurora. Perhaps it is already here. And before Storm can respond, Abigail Brand calls her and tells her about the ego situation and that she is taking a team to Throne World immediately to start helping. And at that point, we also switch back to Throne World. And Hawkling and Glory have defeated the current wave of mindless ones, but Glory is dead, and Hawkling is barely standing, unable to survive another wave, shall it come in time. when a new portal opens in front of them and Agent Brand steps out, followed by Manifold, Frenzy, Cora, and Payback. She tells Hawkling that he should have listened to her at the gala. Alpha Flight don't work anymore, so she made something even better. Portals start to open all around them as another mindless wave arrives. Brand tells Manifold to get Hawkling to the medbay now, while they hold off the rest of the mindless. And that ends this issue. Taking us to our final issue, Guardians of the Galaxy number 17. Written by Al Ewing, with art by Juan Frigeri and colors by Federico Blais. Part 3. Dormammu is in control. Dormammu, ruler of the Dark Dimension, has taken possession of Ego, the living planet, and launched a galaxy-wide attack. It's in the all hands on decks as the Guardians, Sword, Hawkling, Wiccan, and even Doctor Doom must form an alliance to stop the last annihilation. Now, we open on the Guardian ship, the Proskinium, and the Guardians have gathered to make a plan, and Doctor Doom is explaining the whole situation to them. Captain Glory is dead. The pinnacle of Kree gene modification, ambushed by strategies unguessable to those unversed in the ways of magic. How power like Dormammu's can bend and shape universes. If Earth's mutants had not used their own universe shaper, the Kree Skrull Emperor would be dead alongside him. As it is, Kree Skrull forces are catastrophically split between attacks on Hala and attacks on Skrullos. The king and his consort are fighting light years from each other, weakening both defenders. Spartix is at least a capital planet, but soon King Jason's death, the Spatari are minor players, at best, fighting solace in ancient beliefs as their empire crumbles. And Dormammu's newest target, Ari, a shi'ar planet of historical importance, but little practical significance. 4 planets under attack. Why just 4? Why these 4? How are they connected? And what if there was a 5th? Imagine a pentagram, a magic symbol, the size of a galaxy, with birth world of a birth world of star-spanning race at each point. Ari, the point of sky, birthed the world of the Shi'ar, who evolved from birds into intellectual and economic powerhouses. Skrullos, the point of sea, birth world of the deviant Skrulls, a changeling people among changing people whose bodies flow like tides. Hala, the point of storms, birth world of the Kree, the warriors who struck the lightning, a world that died in fire. And Spartix, the point of spirit, for they have turned again to spiritually, to, to charting their souls by the stars, and to their Star Lord. If it's a summoning circle, it will merge our reality with his dark dimension, and Dormammu will conquer all that exists with a single thought. That's one possibility. The others are worse. And with each of the 5 planets he conquers, whatever form that takes, he will grow stronger. And Star-Lord says the fifth missing point would be on the Chitauri homeworld, Chitauri Prime. Rocket tells them that him and Doom have a plan, and that they need to trust at least him if they can't trust Doom. And they all split up and go to protect the various planets that Rocket assigns. Now, we switch to space above Chitauri Prime in an asteroid field. Doom, Star-Lord, Drax, Groot, and Moondragon have teleported to a hidden ship Doom had placed in the asteroid field. Moondragon approaches a viewport. Sorry, I lost my spot. A viewport, and says that the Chitauri have planetary defenses, but she is seeing nothing. She uses her power to reach out quickly and says, "We are too late. Dormammu has control here." Doom approaches the computer and pushes a lever, saying, "This is more than a ship. It's a terraforming assembly platform. This craft consumes orbital resources such as the mineral-rich asteroids around Chitauri Prime and processes them into the necessary workforce, recorder units, explorer units, builder units, whatever the Regalians need, of course. I have made a few adjustments, though. Yes, dooms will be done in the heavens as it is on earth. You speak of annihilation here. It is your world for war. For the sweeping waves of might that consume all, then let doom's hand be the annihilation of annihilations, the end of all your wars. Let my merciful mask be the true face of peace. Look upon my work, Dormammu, and despair. And he pushes the lever, and thousands of Doombots pour out of the ship towards the planet's surface and start to fight the Dormammu-controlled Chitauri. At this point, we switch to Spartix, and we see Quasar, Nova, Gamora, Mantis, and Palabrock folding, sorry, not folding, fighting off waves of mindless ones. And we learn that Wakanda is helping on the Shi'ar world, and Sword is helping on Skrullos and Hala. As the battle rages on, a massive portal opens behind Nova, and he turns to see the Dormammu-possessed ego cross through, with a whole body that has grown out of its planet-sized head. And that ends this issue. Hope you enjoyed the video this week. Now, next week we won't have a show due to a family vacation, but join us in 2 weeks as we cover Last Annihilation Part 2. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the video to help spread our brand to the world. You can also leave a comment down below. Feedback is always welcome. Now, you can find us on the Jabroni Nerd Network Facebook page or on Twitter at Jabroni Network. So, until next time, guys, keep talking nerdy.